The orbital station drifted along the edge of the nebula verge, a shining ring of alloy and crystal suspended above swirling clouds of violet and gold. Humans were newcomers in this region, and most species who passed through the station barely recognized them. Yet the humans adapted fast. They worked, traded, explored, and made their presence known with a confidence that unsettled many travelers from older civilizations. Among the crew posted to the station was a human named Mark. He was a technician assigned to the biological wing, a place where species from all corners of the quadrant brought their pets, companions, and study specimens. Mark liked animals. They made more sense to him than people. He remembered every creature's preferences, moods, and odd habits. Some animals had tentacles, some had feathers, and some smelled like burnt wood when nervous. He handled them all with patience and steady hands. That was why the chief caretaker often sent him to deal with the more temperamental arrivals. On one particular day, a shuttle docked carrying a rare visitor. Her species was known as the Linari, a clan of feline humanoids who rarely interacted with outsiders. They were taller than humans, graceful, and covered in patterned fur that shimmered with faint light. They had strong territorial instincts and were known to be wary of touch. Even experienced diplomats gave them space. The visitor stepped into the biological wing with her cloak brushing the floor. Her fur was silver with black streaks, and her eyes held the sharp glow of polished gems. She carried herself like a warrior. The moment she walked in, the staff stepped aside. She glanced at them with an expression that hovered between boredom and challenge. The Linari did not give their personal names easily, so she introduced herself with a title. She was called Lyra. She had traveled across the verge to retrieve an ancient data capsule that held genetic history of her clan. The container had been damaged in transit and now rested in the biological wing's repair cradle. Mark was assigned to inspect it. He approached with calm steps. Lyra watched him with narrowed eyes, her tail flicking slowly. Many workers had trembled under that gaze, but Mark simply nodded in greeting and went on with his task. She blinked in surprise. Humans puzzled her. They showed no fear, even when they lacked claws and natural armor. As Mark examined the capsule, his attention drifted for a moment. A small patch of fur near Lyra's shoulder looked slightly tangled. Without thinking, he reached out and brushed it gently. It was a simple instinct. He treated feline species with careful grooming touches. It calmed many of them. But Lyra was not like the animals he cared for. She was a prideful member of a fierce species. The moment Mark's fingers grazed her fur, she froze. Her pupils widened. Her ears shot upward. A low sound rolled in her throat, not quite a growl and not quite a warning. Mark jerked his hand back. He realized his mistake far too late. Lyra hissed with a sound that vibrated the air. Her long limbs moved with blinding speed. Before he could retreat, she pinned him against the wall with one strong forearm, while her other hand braced beside his shoulder. Her tail flicked in agitation as she stared at him from inches away. Mark's heart pounded, but he forced himself to stay calm. He met her eyes without challenge. Her species respected courage. Cowering would only worsen the situation. She studied his expression. Her ears twitched. She inhaled his scent as if trying to read his intentions. Her strength was undeniable, and her proximity would have terrified most beings, but Mark held steady. Lyra expected fear, but found steadiness instead. That did something strange to her instincts. Her species reacted strongly to touch. A grooming gesture meant trust, closeness, even a hint of claim. She had not expected a human to offer such a gesture. She had certainly not expected her own instincts to respond. The moment he touched her, she felt a jolt of warmth flood through her chest. Her pulse quickened, and her throat vibrated with a deep sound she could not stop. She had no intention of harming him now. Instead, something much stranger overtook her. She leaned closer, and the sound turned into a soft, rumbling purr. The station staff watched from a distance with wide eyes. They expected violence, but saw something else. Mark swallowed carefully. Lyra's eyes had softened. She lowered her head until her forehead nearly touched his, and whispered the word mine in a tone that resonated with fierce possessiveness and unexpected affection. Mark resisted the urge to panic. He forced a steady voice and told her he meant no disrespect. He explained that he treated injured or stressed creatures with gentle grooming motions because it often soothed them. Lyra listened. Her grip relaxed slightly. She tilted her head. Her ears lowered from aggression to curiosity. She asked why he would dare to touch a Lainari without permission. Mark replied that he acted on instinct because he liked helping creatures feel comfortable. He apologized sincerely. Lyra stared at him for a long moment. She stepped back just enough to give him room, but her gaze never left his face. She told him that what he considered a simple gesture meant far more to her people. Among her clan, a touch like that carried deep connection. It signaled trust and acceptance. Some even took it as a form of bond. Mark felt heat rise in his cheeks. He stammered an apology again. Lyra only tilted her head and considered him with a thoughtful expression. She said she would not punish him because he had shown no fear when confronted and had acted with genuine care. She said that bravery was rare among outsiders. She told him he had earned her attention, whether he wanted it or not. The word attention sounded less like a warning and more like a promise. The next day, she returned to the biological wing. Mark was working on the capsule again. She approached without announcement. He looked up and greeted her politely. She circled him once, lightly flicking her tail against his arm as if marking territory. He kept working while she observed him. She asked many questions. Why were humans so unafraid of species stronger than them? Why did humans explore dangerous territories? Why did humans show kindness to creatures that could harm them? Mark answered with honesty. Humans learned by doing. They survived by pushing boundaries. They treated other species with respect because they believed all life had value. Lyra listened closely. She found herself intrigued by this human mindset. It reminded her of old Lainari legends, where warriors sought connection rather than dominance. She surprised herself by asking Mark to accompany her to the observation ring where the nebula drifted like flowing paint. Mark agreed. As they walked through the station, she kept close to him. Other travelers gave them a wide berth. Many species knew of Lainari pride and saw their proximity as a sign of territorial claim. Rumors spread quickly. A Lainari warrior had marked a human. Some laughed. Some whispered warnings. But none dared approach too closely. In the observation ring, Lyra watched the nebula glow. She told Mark stories of her clan and their ancient traditions. He shared stories of Earth and humanity's struggles and triumphs. They spoke for hours. Mark realized that beneath her fierce exterior, Lyra was curious, intelligent, and surprisingly gentle when she trusted someone. She asked him once why he did not fear her. He said fear was natural, but respect was stronger. That answer pleased her more than she expected. Her purr vibrated softly again. Over the next week, she visited daily. She accompanied Mark on tasks. She asked him to explain human technology and tools. He asked her about Lainari hunting strategies and star navigation. She grew protective of him. When other species approached too closely, she stood in front of him with her tail lashing. When someone spoke rudely to him, she stepped forward with narrowed eyes until they backed away. Mark sometimes protested, but she ignored him. Protecting someone she considered important was in her nature. The repaired data capsule was almost ready for release. Lyra watched Mark run diagnostics. She had grown accustomed to his presence. She enjoyed the calmness of his scent and the steadiness of his hands. He told her she should be able to retrieve the capsule tomorrow. She felt a strange heaviness in her chest. She did not want to leave yet. She asked what he would do after she returned home. He said he would continue his work as usual. Lyra went silent for a long moment. Then she admitted something quietly. When he touched her that first day, her instincts reacted strongly. She had felt a bond form. She had tried to dismiss it, but the feeling only grew. She asked if he felt anything similar. Mark hesitated. He respected her deeply. He admired her strength and her willingness to learn. But he also feared giving the wrong impression. Humans did not bond the same way Linary did. He explained gently that humans built connection through time, trust, and shared experience. Lyra listened and accepted this. She said that she was willing to earn that trust. She placed her hand on his shoulder with careful pressure. She promised that she would not force a bond on him. Instead, she would stay until he decided what he wanted. Mark appreciated that. He told her he enjoyed her company and wanted to continue learning from her. The next day, the capsule release triggered a station-wide alert. A rival clan of the Linary attempted to intercept it. They believed the capsule held secrets that should not be restored. Their raiding vessel breached the docking bay. Armed warriors stormed inside. Station guards struggled to hold them back. Lyra reacted instantly. She grabbed Mark's wrist and pulled him into a defensive corridor. She told him to stay behind her. Mark Refus,